Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Shop. This podcast is for product businesses, and I speak to both retail buyers and brand owners about what it's really like to start and grow a retail business. My name is Therese, and my mission is to help you build a scalable and profitable product business through wholesale. Today, I will be joined by the lovely Hannah, who founded Epanoui in 2012. Hannah takes inspiration from nature to design a wearable jewelry range. And she also runs a busy independent lifestyle store in Bedford, where she also has her jewelry workshop, and she and her team handcrafts each of her pieces. I invited Hannah to the podcast because she has a really unique perspective, being both a brand owner and a shop buyer. So welcome, Hannah.
Hiya, morning.
Morning. How are you
How are
doing?
you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to chat and to bring the
Yeah,
podcast back.
I know. It's been a while, hasn't it? So that's exciting.
Yeah, it took a very long break.
Well, that's good. Sometimes you need a break to get a fresh head on.
I think so. I think I needed to work on other aspects of the business, and I'm really excited to bring it back now rather than trying to
Good.
put it out half-heartedly.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything crucial in your introduction?
I don't think so. It was a very glowing introduction. Thank you. People don't normally introduce me like that. They're just like, oh, yeah, this is Hannah.
What came first? So you started the jewelry brand first and then opened the brick and mortar store. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. So I founded the jewelry business back in 2012, like you said, literally from my kitchen table after I quit my PR job working for Disney. Yeah, it grew slowly from there. I just moved to a new place, so I was finding work. I'd gone from working for a huge global business to working from my kitchen table. The change was quite extreme, and I'd moved to a new place so I didn't really know anyone. So I was working from home, and I also got a little job in a coffee shop so that I could integrate myself within the local community to actually meet people, which was invaluable at the time. Otherwise, I think I would have gone a little bit crazy working on my own all the time. And from there, it just sort of grew organically through working from home, creating new pieces, finding my inspiration and figuring out exactly what I wanted to make. And then also working in the coffee shop and sort of people starting to hear about what I was doing, and they would come for their coffee, and then also I'd be chatting to them about what I did on the side. And then in the end, I'd be like, would you like a necklace with your coffee? And it just sort of grew a little bit from there. And then as the business developed and I figured out what direction I wanted to go in, I did actually start wholesaling before I had the shop. So the first time I did Top Drawer, I think it was 2013, maybe. God, the years. Started off by doing sort of consumer shows like Country Living, and then I moved to started doing Top Drawer, which was really good for the business. And then it got me to a place where I was like, right, okay, this is serious. I need to get myself together. I can't keep working from the kitchen table. So I was originally looking just for studio space to help me with the volume that I needed. And then the perfect shop unit came up that allowed me to have both. And so, yeah, that was 8 years ago. And I opened the shop, 8 years ago. And what I've been really careful to do all along over the years is grow really carefully. It's only in the most recent years that we've grown a lot more. In the beginning, I was very careful with it because I didn't want to go before I'd even begun.
So you started selling wholesale at Top Drawer, and then when you got the shop, you took a bit of a break. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So once I had the shop and the shop was up and running, and that really took off, I was doing it all myself. So I was working 7 days a week. I was making all the jewelry. I was running the shop, which was open, I think, 5-6 days a week in the beginning. Being a shopkeeper, a jewelry maker, and just trying to do it all and fulfill wholesale, it was just too much. I couldn't do it all.
Of course.
And I wasn't in the beginning. I wasn't in a position to hire anyone really, apart from a little bit of extra help in the shop. So I took a step back from the wholesale, and then it's in recent years where I've picked the wholesale back up again. Now that the business has grown and I've got a bigger team, and we are able to. What I didn't want to do, like I said, with the doing it sort of carefully and organically, I didn't want to take on more than I knew we could handle because it would just Thank you. So yeah, so in recent years, I've got back on the wholesale wagon, and it's going well.
That's really nice. And do you think you have a different approach now because you have that unique perspective now of both having the shop and being a brand? And has that helped you?
Yes, I definitely think I do have a unique approach in that people sell, like independent brands sell to me all the time. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a phone call, email, someone walk into the shop trying to sell to me. So I feel like I've come across all of the different ways of being approached, and I know what I'm receptive to, and I know what I'm not receptive to. And I've had years of selling other people's products, so I know how to merchandise. I know how to, I understand all of the aspects on both sides. So I really feel like we are in a unique position in that. And I know from our product what sells day in, day out. I know that there's products in our shop that there isn't a day that goes by that I don't sell. So when I'm talking to stockists, I can say our silk bracelets, for instance, there literally isn't a day that goes by where we don't sell one. This is a really good starting point. And then these are our best sellers, and I can prove it because we've been there for 8 years. I feel like hopefully that gives a buyer from another store more confidence, because if I can do it in Bedford, which I'll be honest is not the busiest, hustling, bustling, Bedford is, I'm the biggest advocate, but it's not like we've got a shop in a seaside town in Cornwall that is thriving with footfall, but still our product sells every day. So I really hope that gives a buyer confidence to say, well, if they're doing it day in, day out, it would be easy for me to translate into our store.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. It's a really, I would have thought that means that they could buy with much more confidence.
Yeah.
And for the shop, what kind of products do you buy in? And do you like buying from small brands?
I do. I love buying from small brands. And that's what we really focus on. We do stock a couple of other bigger brands to be able to give a really good cross-reference of price points and product offerings. But I love working with small brands. And I get a real thrill out of finding small brands, discovering them when I'm out about on my travels or I'm on social media or someone approaches me with something really exciting. But I think the first thing I would look for is does this brand visually align with what we do? How is their product going to look on the shop floor? Because so much of what we do is very visual. The team find it hilarious when I sometimes buy things by accident that stick out like a sore thumb in the shop, because it really jars me and I can't cope with it very well. For instance, anything red. I really avoid anything red, which at Christmas is very interesting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I could go for a deep burgundy, but a letterbox red, I really struggle with. So visually, and then obviously you look at the product credentials, but we buy anything from well-being to lifestyle gifts to homeware, and sort of a cross-section between those areas.
When someone pitched to you, how important is it that they have thought about that? How will it fit into your shop? Do you pay more? Are you more likely to get back to them if they have thought about it?
Definitely. I know that I would only approach a shop that I feel our product would sit in. Because firstly, I'm really careful about where we stock, because I want our product to be in places where I know we would have a similar crossover customer base. It's sensible. There's no point in approaching a shop where I just think their demographic is not going to work for us, because it's not going to help anybody. So I would hope that other brands who are approaching us would do the same, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense.
And what do you think is a good way to do that?
So I would first and foremost have a look at their Instagram, have a look on their website, maybe look at what other brands they stock, because there's definitely other brands out there that I know we sit alongside well. And I'm sure as a business owner, if you know your product inside out, you'll know your peers, not necessarily, if you're a candle brand, for instance, not necessarily every other candle brand that's in your cohort, but maybe if there's a really lovely, I'm struggling to think of anything, like a homemade brand that you would sit alongside, I would maybe look for stockists that stock similar things that visually, you would sit alongside, a brand credentially you would sit well with. I'd say it's really important, because you're much more likely to get a bite from the buyer if they think it's going to sit well, and it helps you as well.
I think it helps everyone if you thought about it a little bit. Right?
Definitely.
Looking at your Instagram and website, for example, even if I had a very colorful range, maybe I wouldn't lead with my colorful range. I would lead
Yeah.
with whatever, say I did cards or something, I would lead with
Mm-hmm.
whatever was a little bit more slow living, like natural vibes, rather than
Mm-hmm.
my super bright Christmas range or something.
And I think unless you've got a really, really, really niche product, which definitely there are out there, if you've got a wide range, then there's probably going to be something in there for, like you said, a card brand, for instance. Like I buy lots and lots of cards. Love cards. Absolutely love cards. Cards is one of my favorite things to buy. I really love buying cards. And there's loads of brands that I would buy from, but there's, styles or selections or collections that I wouldn't buy, but there's definitely going to be something in there that would work. It might just be that I only buy from a small part, but there's still something.
And what is a good introduction email, do you think, from a new brand?
Well, you've helped me loads with those over the years. A good introduction would be something not too long. Something I would try and get something visual in the email. Words are great and you can describe your brand, but I think if you're a physical bricks and mortar shop owner, there's going to be a huge visual element to it. And I know that I react to images a lot quicker than I would to an email, words in an email. So try and get something visual in there, a link to your website, and maybe a highlight of bestsellers. Anything that can make buying your brand easier for a buyer who's probably getting multiple of these emails a day. Yeah, and it's anything to make the buyer's life easier. So something visual, an easy link to the website, and maybe a top 3 to 5 bestsellers from the collection, or top 3 to 5 that you would think would work well in their shop. Like we just said about if you make really colourful pieces, but this shop isn't really colourful, say this monochrome range might work really well for you, and it highlights their living. Anything you can do to help make a decision for a buyer easier, which is hard. And I know that because when we wholesale, I have like 200 different lines, and then it is hard, and I struggle with it myself. But yeah, I just think, anything you can do to make it easier.
And what is the last brand that you said yes to and decided to stop?
The most recent brand, I think, is actually a local ceramicist to our shop and studio called Bethany Wells, and she has created for us the most beautiful collection of ceramic. And we have our own shop glazes that we're working on with her. So Bethany, again, this is a really good example. So Bethany does a big range of ceramic, but her bud vases and certain colorways work really well in our shop. So that's then the area that we're working on more. And when she came to show me the product, she brought everything that she thought visually would fit well within the shop. So like earthy tones, everything that would work well. We tried some blues. The blues didn't work. They were too bright. So then we culled those and then worked with the earthy tones. So that's a really good example of working to your strengths for different stockists. It won't be that you can send a blanket email to 50 different stockists and the same thing is going to work for everyone. Everyone's going to have a slightly different SKU. And I think it's nice if you can offer a stockist a slightly different SKU, because then you're making them feel more special. So working with Bethany on certain types and sizes of vases and certain glazes gives us an edge of having something totally unique for the shop, which I think is amazing.
That is amazing. And just the fact that you talk so passionately about her products now is because she does that, right? She offers something stand out.
Exactly. I love that she's local, which I know won't always be possible. But for us, with this product, it just so happens to be that she is local.
And what time of the year do you buy new products?
I would buy new products throughout the year if I find something that I love. But obviously our peak buying time, we're coming into, as a smaller brand, we're coming into like a peak buying time now. I've already bought some pieces for Christmas and then I have them on like a back order ready to drop in like September, October. But yeah, we're coming into peak buying time now where I will buy the majority of my stock, and we will create the majority of our stock for Christmas. Like we're in our quieter months now in the summer, we're working on all of our Christmas stock now so that we've got a good base to build from over the next few months.
In terms of like your wholesale, how is that going?
That's going well. That's going really well. That's been growing over the last year and a half. We're taking on new stockists all the time, and we're working to fulfill all of the orders. I'm also dabbling with fair now. Well, we're still setting up, which feels like it's been a labour of love. But we're dabbling with fair, which hoping will give us a bit more exposure. And then we have Top Drawer coming up in quite an alarming, I think, 3-4 weeks.
My plan is to launch the podcast in the end of August, beginning of September. So by the time you're listening to this, it might already be Top Drawer.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I'll be...
It's going to be so soon.
Yeah, it really is. Because as well, Top Drawer really signals the start of crazy season. Crazy in a good way, but crazy nonetheless. So we're preparing for Top Drawer, which is always a really good one. And I think it is a big show in terms of expense, and it is a big outlay for a business, but I don't feel like there's another way to really rival meeting face-to-face buyers and being able to really show your product, especially for something like ours with jewelry, where things are so small and detailed, and you really want to see the craftsmanship, because we hand make everything. There's loads of jewelry brands out there that don't hand make anything, and it's all mass produced, and therefore they've got a bigger, higher volume turnover. But for us, where everything is so considered, so handmade, you want to see the craftsmanship. And it's very hard with the best photographers in the world, and I have an amazing team of photographers that I use. There's nothing quite like seeing the product, touching it, feeling it, trying it on, and then actually having a face-to-face conversation with someone. Personally, for us, I don't think you can beat that. So that's why I like to go to the show.
I agree. I think that there's nothing, if a brand is ready for a trade show, and I think that is a big, you have to be ready. But once you're ready, there's no other way. Like, you save so much time. It's a very intense time. It's expensive, but you save so much time in that buying cycle. Just being able to meet people face to face. There's just nothing comparing to it, I think.
Yeah, no, there's not. Especially if you can. It's like having the shop. We have a website for Epanoui where we predominantly sell the jewelry and and a small selection of our lifestyle pieces. And we try to translate the shop experience online, and I hope that we do a good job, but you can't rival someone walking in the shop, having a great conversation with them trying the jewelry on, getting that one-to-one experience of, well, I'm buying for a special 30th birthday present. What would you recommend? How does this work? The person's already got the halo necklace. What would go with that? You don't get that conversation online. You can try, and it's the same with the trade shows. Yeah, it's invaluable. And like you said, it is intense. It is very, very, very intense. But building that relationship and actually meeting people and I love it. I really, really enjoy it. I get such a buzz out of it, meeting new people. Even if you're not, making sales with every single person that you speak to there and then, you're doing a lot of the building of the relationship. And you're more likely to stick in someone's head if they've met you, they've seen your stand stands out in their mind, they know you as a face, or they've met one of your team as a face. You're then, for the next year going ahead, if you keep in touch with them, you're more likely to massage that relationship and build something.
For sure. And I guess also, you do such a great job with your stand. I think if a brand is thinking about listening and thinking about doing a show, they should definitely go and visit and look at your stand. You do such a beautiful job, because it really makes you feel like you understand the brand as a visual representation very easily. Because you have such dainty jewelry. That is so hard to do. And I think you really have a thoughtful display. And I guess that's because you also have the show and a shop, and how to display your product. But
so we basically got the shop and then just move it down to Kensington Olympia for 3 days. So if anyone who actually visits the shop while we're at Top Drawer is like, oh, what's happening here? It looks really weird. But then we move everything down there, and we basically set up a mini version of the shop. And then the other thing that I think buyers quite like is that we obviously, when people place an order with us, we provide all the same packaging that we would have if you bought the product in the shop as a consumer. And then also we offer point of sale display. So we use a lot of natural fabric and things to display our jewelry on. So we always say we can offer that. We can offer you like a starter kit of fabric cushions, branded fabric, any sort of struck cards. And then so it makes it easier for a buyer to create their own version of what we have in their shop.
I think that's so lovely. This could be for wholesale or for the shop, but do you have, what was your latest like big or small win that stands out?
I don't know whether this, well, actually, I'll tell you what, the latest win that I feel really pleased with, and it might seem to other people really, really small, was that I finally, after promising for at least a year, got our online loyalty scheme up and running. Now, I'm a digital pen. No, I'm not digital at all. I'm a pen and paper girl. Like, give me a notebook and a nice pen, and I will run my business from that pen and paper. But I appreciate that in this day and age, you can't do that really very successfully. So we've had like a paper loyalty card for years with literally a Hobbycraft star stamp. So anyone that wanted to fleece us could just go to Hobbycraft, buy their own stamp and just stamp away and get the free jewelry. It's normally little kids that come to the till and they go, "No, we've got that stamp at home," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, go for it, go." You're gonna go home and stamp your card and get your £30 off. But so for a long time, I've wanted to move to this digital system, which is brilliant for everybody because as a brand, obviously, it really helps our online presence. It means that whether you're local to the shop or whether you live in the Outer Hebrides, you can shop with us and get your points. And as the points grow, you get like financial rewards off of future jewelry purchases. But for someone who's not so digitally au fait, it's taken me a really, really long time to get my head around it. But we launched it a week and a half ago, and it's been amazing. We've had such a brilliant response. People are loving it.
Love that.
It's helping grow the community online and in the shop. So if you have got one of our paper loyalty cards, we're obviously transferring all of the points that you have from those onto our digital system. It means that you don't have to remember that little bit of paper anymore. And there's ways of, I think, feeling part of the community, the Epanoui community a little bit better. You can share news about Epanoui with your friends to earn, money off your next jewelry purchase for both of you. You can put your birthday in. There's loads of stuff you can do. And I know for so many brands, this is like their bread and butter, and they've probably been doing it for years. When you're a small business and you're doing every element of everything, sometimes these things can just take a little while. But I think, so I feel really pleased with that.
Well done. I think that is so good. We all have things that we work on for a long time that doesn't quite happen. And I think when they do, it's such a big personal win. And for the business, perhaps. But it just feels good.
It does. Oh my gosh, to finally I've been writing it on my to-do list for over a year. Like every day, it's like, loyalty scheme. And just to have to not write the word loyalty scheme again is really quite satisfying. It's those pesky things that you have on your to-do list that just never go away. And it might be something massive that you write as one bullet point that full well is like multiple days of work. And you put it as a single bullet point on your to-do list thinking, that's never going to get done because I know that's going to take me a week to do. That's not a 10-minute job. It's very satisfying. So whatever that is, it might be like calling that stockist or following up with someone. I think that the satisfaction that you get once you've done something is, pretty epic.
Amazing. Well done for getting it done. What is now? What's the new thing on your to-do list now? What's the future?
So, Christmas. So Christmas now is front. Christmas now is front and center. So that, that's a big thing. Having a baby in November, so that's kind of going to be interesting with getting Christmas
exciting.
Running. Yeah, very, very
Ooh, I
exciting. But
wonder
yeah,
when you go to Top Drawer,
yeah.
I wonder if you're going to be tempted to buy in baby stuff for the shop, because that's going to be cute stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know. Lots of people have said that to me when they've come in the shop and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to see." You're definitely going to have to make a space for some new little baby pieces. That is, and again, that's quite exciting because that's a new area that I can buy in for the business that I haven't really. I mean, obviously, I could have stocked baby things before, but it's not been an area that I've really focused on. That might be something quite nice to think about. But yeah, no, Christmas is front and centre for us. And we've grown our team this year. We've got new people in place, which is really exciting, which means that it's a well-oiled machine now. And hopefully there's nothing like an impending deadline to really fire you up and, get your ducks in a row. So for Christmas, I actually feel more organised than ever, which is brilliant. So hopefully we'll go into this season with lots of exciting ideas. We've got loads of things planned for launching sort of October, November time. So yeah, exciting.
That is so exciting. I mean, it'd be nice. Well, I don't know if I'm going to Top Drawer yet, but I'll have to pop into the shop to see you before.
Definitely.
How can people find you if they are listening to this and they want to have a look at your jewelry and pick up some, I don't know, gifts for themselves or friends?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.epanoui.co.uk. You can find us on Instagram at Epanoui Lifestyle. You can find us on Facebook on the same name. Or if you are local to Bedfordshire, then you can come and visit us in our bricks and mortar store, which is on Mill Street in Bedford. And yeah, we love to meet everyone, but I know that that's not necessarily always possible. So the website is the best place to find us, where you can sign up to our shiny new loyalty system.
Yeah, and if you're a buyer, you can go visit a Top Drawer.
Exactly, yeah. If you're a buyer, you can come visit us at Top Drawer at the beginning of September, or drop us an email, hannah@epanoui.co.uk, and we can send you over our lookbook and line sheet, and then hopefully make the as painful as... No, not painful, as pain-free as... Definitely not as painful as possible. As pain-free as possible.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'll pop all the links in the show notes too, so it will be easy. One click to shop, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Therese. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a really lovely day, and I will definitely come and visit before, the baby arrives.
Lovely. All right. I'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.